Hey guys, just hopping on to make a video on a bleach tray today. I know everybody, as far as the assistants, knows how to make bleach trays, but I've had a few of the girls say that they weren't sure how to use the MiniStarS and make bleach trays that method, so I'm going to go ahead and walk through how to do that, and also just a few tips as far as making bleach trays also. So I went ahead and pre-scaled for the sake of time this lower model, so you do always want to make sure that you pre-scale your model. I left the maxillary one with all the little bubbles on it so you can see the difference. If you look at the gingival margin, you can see lots of little bubbles all the way around. So I always make sure to scale all of those off, including air bubbles on the occlusal surfaces and as well as the lingual. As you can see, I've done that already on the lower models, or model, I should say. So the next step I'm going to do is fill in any little air bubbles. As you can see, there's a little hole there, so I will go ahead and block that out. Another thing I wanted to bring up as far as when you're fabricating a bleach tray, you want to make sure that you trim the stone back all the way to the vestibule. So don't leave overhang, okay? You want to have this as flush as possible. When you have a lot of overhang with the stone in that area, when you suck down your tray material, you get a huge separation right here, like a little air bubble that comes in here, and then when the bleach tray sucks down, it's not as tight as it should be. So when you separate it from the model, it's flappy and it doesn't cling to the tooth the way that it needs to. And especially on the maxillary models, you want to have the overhang completely gone. So just nice and flush back. Don't leave the stone to where it overhangs up here, and then you have a big area where you potentially will form an air pocket, and you don't get the tray material to seal against the buckle surfaces the way that you need to. And also you don't need a big base on these, especially the maxillary model. If you can have a horseshoe shape like this, or if your base is a little bit thick, you want to make sure to put a hole in the roof of the mouth. In the palate, because when you suck down the really thin material, it allows the air to pull it all the way through, and then you don't have this big bubble in the palate where the tray material wasn't able to suck down hard enough, leaving the tray loose when you separate it from the model. So I'm going to go ahead and use the fast dam material. It's just a soft tissue isolation that we have here in the lab. It's the same thing as the liquid dam we use for Zoom. It's just a different brand, a different make, and I'm going to go ahead and just fill in that little hole right here, and I'm going to use the brush again to smooth it out. We don't want to do any blocking out on bleach trays unless obviously there's a chipped area or an air bubble that we're trying to repair. We want bleach trays to be as tight as possible. When you start blocking them out, then they get loose. So there is a little bit of a different technique when we make a core bleach tray. You do actually add a little bit of block out on the facial surfaces, which creates a little bit of a pocket in the bleach tray, and it has an interlocking technique where the tray material actually seeps down into the sulcus, which is why it's a different impression method. But this is just a traditional bleach tray that we're doing. So now that I have that one little air bubble filled in, I'm going to go ahead and cure that, and then we'll get it into the MiniStarS, and I'll show you guys what tray material we're going to use, and we'll suck that down. I'm just going to cure this real quick here. Don't look at the light. Boom. Beautiful. Alrighty, so same thing, we're going to want to use the liquid foil, which again is kept in the cabinet down here. Grab the little brush out, and we are just going to paint the model. And sorry for all the jumbling around on the phone, y'all. I need to get a mini tripod. Maybe we can add it to the Smith & Co. wish list. Alright. So again, I do not use a dapping dish, I just kind of dribble it right on, and try not to knock my phone down. That would be helpful. And then I'm just going to smear it around. And again, we're going to take it all the way around every surface of the tooth, the buccal, the lingual, the occlusal surfaces. Make sure it's not too thick because, again, we want bleach trays to be as tight as possible. So if you leave this thick, especially in the occlusal grooves or interproximal areas, you could get a little separation of where the tray sucks down, and then you're not going to have a nice tight fit like you want for your bleach tray. So the liquid foil just helps the tray to come off nice and easy when you separate it from the model after you suck it down. So it's nice and covered. Again, I'm going to center the model. As you see here, there's this little textured circle. I usually will face it this direction when I suck it down, but it really doesn't matter. First things first, we are going to turn it on, and then just a half a turn opening on the valve. Excuse me. It doesn't have to be opened all the way, just half a turn is plenty. Then we're going to get our bleach tray material, and Sheila has it nicely labeled in here. I'm trying to remember if there's a scan card in this one. Let's find out. Yes, there is. Boom. See the little bar scanner in there. So we'll go ahead and dig that out. Make sure to return it to the box so we can use it again in the future. And we'll go ahead and hit the scan button right here at the very bottom. So you just hit that scan button and you'll see the red scan bar pop up down here on the lower right. Just going to scan the barcode, and it's going to preset the machine to 20 seconds. Which is awesome. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and pop my phone up again here. Okay, so the bleach tray sheets have a blue label or sticker on it, so I'm just going to pull that off on both sides. And again, try to avoid touching it, that way you're not getting fingerprints all over it. So now that you have the cellophane pulled off, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place it inside of this little heating mechanism, and it just lays flat. You just kind of line it up in there perfectly. And then we're going to take the little cover piece here and lining it up. The handle is going to face you, just like that. It just kind of lays on top, and then you're going to tighten it. So, and you do need to make sure that you tighten it good. It is a pretty firm grip that you have to get it to slide over. So then once you have everything in place, you are ready to go ahead and start the machine. It's already preset with your timer, so all you have to do is grab the heating mechanism here, and you just pull it and line it up over your tray. So now your timer is going to start counting down for 20 seconds. It's going to start heating up that tray material. So we're just going to wait for that. And this does get extremely hot, so be careful to only manipulate it with the bar. Make sure the machine's pulled out enough. Once it counts down to 0, it actually counts up to 5. So once you get that little green light and the 0, you're safe to go ahead and move the heater all the way back to the back, and then you're just going to flip this over on top of the bleach tray and make sure you close your lever. Once it's shut, we're going to start pressurizing with air. You'll see the air turns blue because it's putting air into the reservoir in there, and it's just going to count down till that's finished. This machine is awesome. It makes beautiful, perfect, and lovely bleach trays. So for the sake of time, I have another case over here where I already started cutting a bleach tray. And this is how they come out after they've been separated from the model. So we'll go through trimming that in just a second. Just showing that to you so we can kill time while we're waiting for this to count down. Just want to show you how this looks when it comes out. And it's also going to do an additional 5. Oh, no, it doesn't. I lied. Okay, so now this little button's flashing here, so you just push it. It's going to let all the air out, and you're able to open the lever up. Now, because these bleach trays suck down so well, it actually sometimes will lift this platform out. Sometimes I will actually see this stuck on here like that. No big deal. All you have to do is just lift it off and set it right back in there. Nothing's broken, nothing's destroyed. And then you go ahead and just open up this little hatch here. And then there is your beautiful, perfect bleach tray. It looks great. It's usually already cooled. You do want to wait for bleach material to not be hot before you separate it, because if you pull it apart too soon, that's when you can get some warping in the tray, and you can also bend it in a way that it's not going to go back to the shape that it needs to, therefore it's not going to fit properly. I'm trying to do phone propping again here. Bear with me. Okay, so since this is cool already, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. And I always try to keep it level when I remove it. I try not to rip it off from like left to right. That way you don't overflex or bend the tray and cause it to become distorted. And then I usually just take regular large standard scissors, and I will cut off all of this major excess material and just throw it away, which makes it easier for when you go in to do the fine-tuned cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over here to this one that I have in the state where we're going to start scalloping it. We have some new scissors right here that are hanging up for easy access. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab those, and we'll start scalloping. Try and get where you guys can see. There we go. Alright, so you can see the bleach tray really captures all of the anatomy of the teeth. You can see the margins of the gum line really well. Anytime where you cannot see the margins really well, usually is because there was overhang on the model and it didn't have enough of a flush surface to get a really good suck down, and you really need to just trim that part of the stone back and suck down the bleach tray. So I'm going to just go ahead and start trimming. These scissors work really good, and I do scallop all the way around, and I think most of us know how to cut the bleach trays already. Again, these are just traditional bleach trays. These are not core bleach trays, which you just want to be very careful to not trim too far down and cut off the little interlocking technology on the core bleach trays that are designed to seal around the gum line. That way the core material stays trapped in the tray and it's not leaching out onto the gums. Since with the core, they're actually going to be wearing them overnight, and traditional bleach trays you're really just wearing for about 2 hours in the evening versus sleeping in it at night. I'm not going to trim the whole bleach tray on this video, but I just want to give you a general understanding of how it should look. So you don't want it to be big and chunky. You want to try to make sure that it's nice and smooth, because obviously these edges will irritate the gums if you leave them too choppy and not smooth. If there's wisdom teeth, I typically will cut those off just because it's too far in the back and nobody needs to bleach their wisdom teeth anyway. So same thing, I just, wrap around all the way to the lingual surfaces, and you're going to trim the trays like this all the way around. And then as soon as I'm done trimming the bleach trays, I use my sterile appliance toothbrush that I have in this bag up here. This toothbrush is used only for scrubbing newly made Essex retainers and bleach trays. I do not use that toothbrush on anything but clean and sterile appliances. So I just scrub it out with the V&X soap and a toothbrush and dry it, and go ahead and put it in a retainer case and check it in on the computer. And there you have it. So, Bleach Tray 101. Hope y'all enjoyed.